So we're down here in the beautiful Spa paddock. It's lovely weather here today, and we're talking with Toby Sowery. How are you doing, Toby?
Yeah, happy to be here.
That's wonderful. Obviously, it's Thursday today. We've got testing on, and you can probably hear some of the Lotuses in the background. You've been out this morning. How's the car feeling for yourself?
Yeah, it's positive again. Obviously, we left Silverstone with a really positive car around high-speed circuits, and I think we're in the same sort of position. I think we ended up P1 again. With a bit of a margin, but yeah, we're comfortable with where we are.
Obviously, coming into this weekend, you've had a good couple of rounds so far. Last weekend at Silverstone was great for you because we saw you on the podium a couple of times, including obviously on the top step, which is obviously a good step from where you were at the start of the season. Do you think you got good momentum now coming into the next couple of rounds?
Yeah, definitely. Coming from Silverstone, you know, I'm happy as a driver. I've got my my pizzazz back and whatnot, but the team are happy again. Obviously, we've only got myself out this weekend, so there's a lot more focus on my car. But no, I think the start of the season wasn't quite what it should have been, but Silverstone's back to where we should be, and I think this weekend, from looking at session one, is looking up again.
I was about to say, it is just you down here this weekend. Do we know what's happened to Aaron Di Converte?
No comment. No, I don't know, but it's not. I've been speaking to Aaron, and he's not really told me much, so I'm guessing it's something to do with him or something. I don't know.
Makes sense. Obviously, as I said, because you've been on good momentum recently, we've seen you on the podium a lot, and some of the other drivers are a little concerned about your forays towards the front. Are you starting to look more seriously now at the threat of threatening Carlin and Hingley and all the other front runners?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, round one, the aim is to win the championship. After maybe round two, we wouldn't have said that still, but no, we're back on a decent form. We went from 6th to 3rd in that last Silverstone weekend, and I think another weekend like that would propel us up again.
I was about to say, obviously coming into Spa, not many of the drivers have experience around the circuit. Obviously yourself, Ahmed, and a few of the other drivers from F3 last year, as well as Tristan Charpentier, have all raced here, but some of the rookies won't know the circuit, and so will it be interesting to try and get one over on maybe people like Daz and people like Chase Owen who haven't been around here before?
I'm not too sure about that, because obviously everyone knows Spa. It's one of the most famous F1 circuits, and all of us will watch F1, especially here. So, you know, driving it is obviously different to watching, but everyone knows the layout of the circuit. Cameron obviously proved that when you go to Alton for the first time that you can put it on pole still. So I think maybe it's not the most difficult track to get right, but there is a few little tricks and tips that maybe myself, Ben and Enan would know that the others don't, but I doubt that will hold them back.
And we've talked a lot about overtaking this year. Obviously, there's been people have sort of struggled to overtake in the first couple of rounds, but we've got to Silverstone, we've got to Spa, and people have noticed this as a circuit that's going to be very good for obviously drivers for overtaking if you do have a bad qualifying session. So are you going to be more concerned when it comes to drivers who may have a bad qualifying but you know are good in the race? Because there are drivers who have struggled a lot in qualifying but have made it up later on.
I don't think it's going to be any different to Silverstone. Obviously, a bad qualifying is a bad qualifying. It doesn't affect you, but I think Silverstone's a bit easier to race on. But you know, here is a big circuit, and we do get our elbows out. So I think it won't be very different to the style of racing we've had before, but there may be a few more in the races than we're used to.
Makes sense. And obviously, is there any big driver threats you're coming into this weekend? Obviously, we mentioned a few, but is there any one driver you think is going to be the one to watch?
You want me saying arm, don't you?
Well, you can say whoever you want, mate. It's your choice.
No, we'll look at that tonight. Obviously, I think it was Anam who was second in that one, but we don't know. Cameron could surprise us again. Ben could. I'm not going to say anything.
Makes sense, mate. Well, good luck for the rest of the weekend, and hopefully we can see you on that top step a few more times.
I like that. Cheers. Thank you.
Talking to Toby Sowery after race number 1 here in Belgium in Spa, and Toby finished 4th. However, at one point he was leading the race. What happened?
I kind of went downhill. Got a great start, managed to pass Enan, pulled a little bit of a gap, but then Ben caught me up. We had a bit of a collision on the last chicane. He had to go off circuit to rejoin without crashing. Got a bit of an advantage. which has had no further action, and then put me into the path of Enarm, who managed to get me on the same lap. So it just went downhill from that moment. But there were positives and negatives to take.
Sounds like you should get that sounds like a masterclass in diplomacy. I've seen an onboard video, and you anyway, I shouldn't give my opinion, but you're very diplomatic, and these things happen in racing, and it's racing incident. No further action officially from the stewards, and you did finish 4th. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, going pessimist, it could have been a lot better. As you said, there's no further action. That's not down to me. That's down to the clerk of the course, and you've got to respect their decision no matter what. So, it's not what I'd have chosen to happen, but as I said, it's in the past, and 4th isn't the end of the world, so we're not too disappointed. Exactly.
You only, you're in the right place to make an assault on another podium, basically, for race number 2, which is the reverse grid race. And do you think you're in the right frame of mind to continue your title attack?
Yeah, definitely. We struggled in that race a little bit with the setup. We thought from qualifying, we found some time that stopped us getting the pole, and we thought we'd try and work with that for the race, hoping to get a good start and into the lead, which we did, but it didn't turn out how we'd hoped. So, we're going to go back to how we started in qualifying, try and improve it a little bit, but I think if you go back to how we started this morning, we're back on our terms where we think we should be.
Well, interestingly, Enam predicted that you'd get past him. You and Ben would sort of fly past him, because he was saying that he had the most amount of wing on. He said he probably had the most amount of wing of anyone on the grid, which is interesting in itself. And you did get past him as well. So he predicted that. And if you have another flying start like that, then I'm sure you'll be happy. But predictions, perhaps, for race 2?
It's going to be tough. The majority of it is down to the start, when you're obviously closest to someone. But I think, you've obviously got James, who unfortunately didn't set a time of qualifying starting a pole for this race. So he's a driver that probably shouldn't be starting pole for a reverse grid race. So he should. I'm sure he'll be quick, and so will the drivers in front of us. But it's all about the starts here.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll catch up with you again, maybe after race number 2, and maybe after another podium.
Fingers crossed. Cheers.
Talking after race number 2 here in Belgium at Spa, and it's a podium for Toby Sowery. Congrats.
Thank you.
Talk us through it then. What happened at the start? I think you started something like 5th.
Yeah, didn't get the best of starts, which put me into the pack a bit. And it was a bit of a cluster on the first lap. Lots of people jostling for position, but managed to get a few places, I think, and then come around in 4th or 5th, maybe maintained it. And then, managed to pick Jamie Chadwick off, get a bit of a gap for an arm, and then he eventually caught me past, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and talk us how you got past Cameron Daz. So, where was that? Was that an easy manoeuvre for you? Was it just?
It's probably the most favourite overtaking place around this track, down the long straight, just drag past him. Nothing he can really do. No one can really fight that, but it's, drag up, toe past him, and then maintain a gap.
Well, ultimately, points do mean prizes in the championship anyway, and you've got some good points here. And race number 3, I'm not sure where you start on the grid, but what do you think you'll be able to do?
We'll see. In that, I think Anam got pole. I think we're 3rd, so we're behind him again. If he doesn't get past on the first lap, I don't think we could do much, but you never know. The first lap here is quite challenging, especially from the lead.
Have Carlin now come up with the good setup for this track? Because coming into this weekend, they were really, really worried about you and your car.
We're struggling. I think they've got to where the level was at the start of the weekend, so they've built up to it and got the best out of the car, but we've just gone backwards. I don't know why. The car's not feeling anywhere near as comfortable as it was on Thursday, so I'm really struggling out there for the ultimate pace.
Well, best of luck in race number 3.
Cheers, thank you.
After the final race in Belgium in Spa, it's another podium for Toby Sowery. How are you feeling?
Better, but still a little bit disappointed. You know, it was a good race between me and Ian Arm. It was, you know, heads and tails on who was going to win, but no, better, but still not too confident about that.
You were certainly leading and looking very, very strong, and you took the lead the same way that you ended up losing it, unfortunately. But it certainly adds to the excitement for us viewers watching such amazing slipstreaming down the straight. I can tell you, in fact, that you're a solid second place in the championship now. Certainly, that must feel good.
Yeah, it's good, but Ian Arm's managed to extend the lead a bit more, so it's always good to make sure that you're comfortable in second, but just a little bit far from Ian Arm at the moment. I think we've got to have 3 very solid weekends and him to have a bit of a slip up in order to really close up on him.
Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you very much.